attending today's webinar. We're going to be talking about EFT security today, and specifically, we're going to be focusing on multi-factor authentication, or MFA enhancements for the workspaces component of our product. And some of the components are going to be specific to our latest release, which is EFT 804. And yeah, that's the topic for today's conversation. So again, thank you for attending. Bear with me here just one second. Okay. So again, my name is Edward Adame. I'm the team lead for the GlobalScape Solution Engineers. It's a team of 4 of us, most of which we've kind of come up through the ranks in support. So we have a lot of deep expertise for EFT on the team by virtue of the fact that we have some veterans on our team. And I also want to illustrate the fact that, we were recently purchased by Health Systems. That happened about 6 months ago, I guess. And so now, in addition to EFT, we have a bunch of other security-related products and capabilities. It's really expanded the umbrella of what we can do as a solution architecture team. Okay, so for example, we have digital loss prevention technology that we can leverage now. We have data classification products. Again, these are other products under the Health Systems umbrella. But again, our task as a solution engineering team is to help our customers with all of those different products. So if you have any additional questions that are outside of EFT, but you need help again with maybe ClearSwift or Titus or Bold & James, there's their different products under the Health Systems umbrella. We're all available and happy to assist you. So with that, let's first talk a little bit about why multi-factor authentication. The bottom line for using MFA is that it greatly enhances the security, especially for customers who are dealing with sensitive data and file transfers, peer-to-peer file transfers using EFT. Okay, so as you're probably already aware of, there's been an explosion of security issues in the industry, especially recently with everybody working from home. And so commonly, account credentials are compromised through phishing attacks or through corporate data security breaches. We also see that it's pretty common for people to reuse passwords between accounts. So when one account is compromised, right, those credentials can then be leveraged to maybe access other accounts that are related to that same individual. So to put a cap on these problems, right, MFA is really one of your primary tools that you can use to alleviate these concerns and to combat this problem. Okay, so common methods that people use in the industry would include one-time passcodes, which you're probably already very familiar with. If you log into a bank account or something of that nature, you'll have a one-time passcode that's sent to you via SMS. And then in corporate or enterprise environments, typically we see authenticator apps such as the one that's provided by Duo Security, or hardware tokens, for example, RSA Secure ID is another good example. So as I go through and talk about different ways that we can integrate with these products, please keep in mind that I'm not endorsing any particular MFA option, right? I'm just kind of talking about what we commonly see customers ask us for in the industry. Okay. All right, so first we're going to talk a little bit about EFT Enterprise. As you are probably already aware, EFT is broken into 2 major categories, either EFT Enterprise or EFT Express, okay? And both of those platforms have their relative strengths. EFT Enterprise is obviously more geared toward enterprise, high availability, tier 1, business critical application environments, right? Where EFT Express is a little bit more basic in terms of its use cases, right? But also comes at a lower price point, right? So we like to give our customers options that are tailored really to their use cases and business needs. So first, we are going to talk a little bit about EFT Enterprise and some of the capabilities that exist there. So the first thing that we very commonly get asked for is SAML authentication, okay? So SAML authentication is basically integration with a third-party identity provider that verifies the user's identity and also performs the multi-factor authentication challenge. Okay, so in this particular slide, what would happen is you would log into the web transfer client. You would be redirected to the identity provider, right, which would then take your account credentials and perform the two-factor authentication, right? In this particular slide, I'm showing you ADFS, but commonly we see Azure Active Directory. Okta is another common example. And so again, this would be an enterprise IDP that would exist not only for EFT, but also for other applications, right? And then once that challenge process completes, you're redirected back to EFT and you are logged into the web transfer client, okay? So in addition to SAML authentication, we've had native RSA secure ID support built into EFT Enterprise for a long time. And we also support other advanced authentication methods such as LDAP and radius authentication, okay? And the reason why that's important to note is because, again, commonly in enterprises, right, if you're using like Duo Security or Okta, for example, they have products that will do radius and LDAP authentication and also perform that two-factor authentication challenge, right? So by leveraging those authentication protocols, right, you can integrate again with corporate IDP or radius LDAP two-factor security solutions with using advanced authentication in EFT Enterprise. So with that, let's talk about something new, okay? So our new option that we're providing to customers is one-time passcodes. And the nice thing about this is that this is available to both enterprise and express customers. So previously, express customers really didn't have a way to address multi-factor authentication needs in their environment. And so we've introduced this new capability as part of EFT 804. Again, available for both platforms. It does require the Express Security Module or the Advanced Security Module to be active on those platforms. And the way in which this works is that EFT generates the one-time passcode and then sends that passcode either via email or text message, okay? If you're going to use text messaging, okay, we have native integration with Twilio SMS, okay? And the way that this works is that EFT uses API calls to the Twilio SMS gateway service and leverages Twilio to be able to generate those SMS text messages, which to then be received on the user's mobile device, okay? It's also important to note that one-time passcodes can be selectively enabled within user settings templates, okay? Which basically means, you know, you may want to selectively enable one-time passcodes for specific groups. Maybe you don't want to leverage one-time passcodes for everybody, right? Or for external users, for example. So while it's enabled at the EFT site, you can selectively enable whether or not one-time passcodes are applied to individual settings templates within that site. And I'll show you a little bit more about that in the upcoming demo. So again, MFA is enabled per site. Whenever you enable MFA, you'll be warned if the accounts in that site lack required information for multi-factor authentication, okay? So for example, if an email address is not configured or if a phone number is not configured as part of those account details, EFT is going to tell you that, right, and give you an opportunity to go back and fix that problem so that you don't have a situation where multi-factor is not functioning correctly. Also, if you're using SMS and you're sharing folders or file via workspaces, during the process, when you share that folder, right, you're going to be prompted to enter the user's SMS or mobile number as part of sharing that folder. And I'll show you that specifically in a product demonstration as well, okay? So with that, and without further ado, give me just 1 second here. I'm going to go ahead and switch gears, and we're going to switch over to my demo environment. Thank you very much. Okay, so what you're seeing here is EFT Enterprise. So what you're seeing here is an Active Directory integrated site. Okay, so the user accounts that are listed here are actually being pulled from Active Directory in this particular example. Okay. As I said previously, we support RSA Secure ID, and I have other sites here configured within EFT, leveraging different authentication methods such as GlobalScape Authentication or SAML or LDAP. Okay. When I click on the Connections tab, this is where you're going to enable, as part of the site, the additional authentication requirements. Okay. So in this drop-down menu here, again, we support email delivery of those one-time passcodes or SMS delivery, or a combination of the two. And if I click on the SMS configuration here, this is where you would enter your Twilio account details and authorization tokens so that we can integrate with the Twilio SMS gateway. Okay. So from there, again, I'm going to go to my user settings template. This is where, again, I have an option for requiring additional factors for authentication. I can selectively disable this, right, as part of the user settings template, okay? And when I go to the account details, right, this information is being pulled via Active Directory in this particular example. But if you were just using GlobalScape accounts, you could be entering this information manually, right? So if I switch over here to Active Directory, this is where the telephone number is configured, and EFT is just pulling that from Active Directory in this particular example, okay? So if I switch over to my login here, I'm going to go ahead and log into this site. When I click the login button, you're going to see that it's going to prompt me for a passcode. And I am going to type that in now. And there we are. I'm logged into the web transfer client, having entered the necessary information from my mobile device. Now, if you were to select email as your delivery method for that one-time passcode, I have that over here in an additional tab, right, where this would be this would be sent to you via email, and this is what the email would look like here. Okay. So moving back over to the web transfer client, let's say, for example, I want to share this folder, and I'm going to share this with my GlobalScape address. Okay. And because I have one-time passcode set up for this particular environment, when I click that button, it's going to prompt me for the user's telephone number, which I will enter and then confirm. Okay. So this is something that is going to happen off screen, but I'm going to receive an email with this information. Bear with me here real quick. So I'm going to go ahead and view that folder. I will be directed to complete the registration process, which is what you're probably already familiar with. And again, it's going to send me a one-time passcode via text message. Bear with me, 615-555. And now I am logged into the system with access to that shared folder. So in a nutshell, that's what it looks like to register alongside one-time passcodes within the product. Okay. So with that, we're going to move on a little bit here. I want to mention a few things. Upgrading to 8.04, again, this is part of our 8.04 release, right? So you can upgrade to version 8.04 from any version 8 release. Okay, so that's a direct upgrade path. Or from any from 7.4.13.15, which is the latest release of EFT7. That's a direct upgrade path, okay? If you are running a version older than 7.4.13.15, right, you first need to get to that version, okay? And if you're in that situation, I would strongly recommend that you give us a call and let's walk through that process with you. Let's talk about your upgrade path and options, and so that we can give you specific upgrade instructions and advice. It is very common that I see EFT kind of quietly working in the corner of customers' environments, right? And because it's a very stable product, it tends to sometimes be neglected, right? It just stays in the corner and does its job, right? So if you're on an older release, which is very common, we see that very frequently, give us a call and we'll be very happy to work through those details with you, okay? Additional resources I'd like to bring to your attention. First of all, we have a knowledge base at kb.globalscape.com. And we have a lot of knowledge base articles that focus on specific integration, SAML integration examples, et cetera, right? So our knowledge base is a great resource for you to reference. And we also have extensive online help files, which are found at help.globalscape.com, okay? But the most important thing that we want to make sure that you understand is that we're easy to contact. We are very happy to go through and provide a product demonstration that's specific to your use case and needs. And we're also very happy to work through proofs of concept, or maybe doing a trial evaluation of our Express or Advanced Security modules, so that you can evaluate these components in your environment and verify that they're going to meet your needs from a business standpoint. Okay. All right, with that, I'm going to pause here for a moment and see if we can just kind of open the floor for any questions on some of these. One of the questions will this be available on Arcus? The answer is absolutely. You'll be able to use one-time passcodes with Arcus. This requires us to roll out the 8.04 release to Arcus, which is pending, right? But once that upgrade completes, this will be something that you can leverage. The Twilio SMS application does indeed have an additional cost, right? So that is something that would be outside of EFT specifically. Now, keep in mind, you can always use email, right? Which may not necessarily be the preferred method, but email is an option and something that you could leverage without any additional costs as well. So please keep that in mind. Let's see, one-time passcodes are specific to HTTPS, right? So those do not apply to anything other than really securing web transfer or protocol or web transfer client access, okay? So they're not intended for SFTP or for anything of that nature, okay? So that was a good question there. Can you use another authenticator? That's a great question. You know, I'll talk a little bit about Duo security because I'm just personally familiar with that, right? What we would see, like, for example, Duo Security has a mobile application that does push applications for one-time passcodes. And Duo Security also has an LDAP proxy and a Radius authentication proxy that you could leverage, right? Now, this would be something that would require EFT Enterprise, but by leveraging Radius or LDAP authentication protocols, you could integrate with a proxy and be able to integrate with an authenticator app from Duo. That same approach could be taken for Okta potentially as well, although we see SAML being more commonly asked for that. Let's see here. Hopefully that's answering some of those questions. Apologies as I kind of scroll through this list of questions here real quick. So one of the questions is it possible to set up MFA for SFTP? Again, everything that I was showing you here would be really specific. The one-time passcodes are HTTPS specific. It might be possible to do MFA through Radius or LDAP authentications. I don't see why that wouldn't be a possibility, but clearly a slightly different approach if that's one of your requirements. Let's see here. Okay, well that definitely hits the highlights. Once again, I want to encourage, if you want to have a direct conversation and talk about this, we can go through your specific use cases and requirements. We're very happy to do so, and I would encourage you to get in contact with your account manager, or again, we have contact resources on our website. Give us a call. We're happy to work through that with you. So with that, I would like to thank you for your attendance, and we will look forward to additional conversations, and very happy to do additional product demonstrations as required. So please reach out to your account manager, and we'll be happy to help you.